The Cougars of Concordia University Chicago and the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse. I am Parker Kelly. I'm joined by Rafael Gonzalez. And Raf, this is a Cougars team that has lost 3 straight. They're struggling to find any kind of momentum right now. And on the other hand, UW Lacrosse has won 3 in a row, and they're on an absolute tear.
They have been in a tear as of late, and a key part of that as well has been their goal-scoring efforts. You look at their team in general, they already have 4 players this year already in double digits in goals. You have, of course, Lauren Schwartz with 18, you have Ava Schultz with 17, and you have Britta Nelson right there with 15. While you look for the Cougar side of things, goal scoring has been an issue for them. So far this season, they've only scored at most 9 goals twice this year. So they hope today they look to turn their fortunes around right before conference play begins.
And you mentioned that high-powered offensive attack that UW Lacrosse brings. Let's look back at their past 3 previous matchups. First, on March 16th at Kalamazoo College, University of Wisconsin Lacrosse put up 19 goals in that effort. Then again, March 22nd, that was a Wednesday, versus the University of Northwestern Minnesota, put up 12 goals. And then last Saturday, March 25th, versus Cornell College, put up 17 goals. This is a high-powered offensive attack, and the Cougars' defense is really struggling right now, so they're going to have to step up big time today.
Today's going to be a critical test for the Cougars. You look at their last 3 results, all of them gone by the wayside. They allowed 15 against Illinois Wesleyan. They allowed 16 against Lake Forest, in which we were there to see that. And then also on this past Sunday, they lost 12-9 to Kalamazoo. So if the Cougars want to have any chance today of winning this game, it's going to be limiting the amount of opportunities that UW Lacrosse can have today in order to have any chance of winning.
Absolutely, and it'll be a major test for the Cougars. We'll go ahead and send it down to the field for the playing of our national anthem and starting lineups. We'll be back here shortly on the Cougar Sports Network. And there you have it, folks. Go ahead and give you a quick rundown of the starting lineups before we get underway here in River Forest. First, for our visitors from University of Wisconsin Lacrosse, number 21, Lauren Schwartz. Number 8, Ava Schultz. Number 27, Grace Woolmat. Number 17, Olivia Goschmeider. Number 12, Abigail Stegoff. Number 25, Alyssa Bailey. Number 24, Kaylee Hendrick. Number 19, Anna Jensen. Number 18, Kirsten Pelletier. Number 15, Julia Della Pena. Number 5, Abigail Franta. And in goal for Lacrosse, number 33, Abigail Furlano. Now for the Cougars, number 1, Sarah Ludwig. Number 5, Chloe Schaafsma. Number 7, Bryn Beto. Number 8, Jessica Parker. Number 10, Nina Naez. Number 11, Becky Colmenares. Number 12, Riley Ornstein. Number 18, Kelly Sala. Number 19, Kelly Piotrowski. Number 23, Lauren Sala. Number 25, Kate Johnson. And in goal for the Cougars, number 63, Ryan McGee. As both teams make their way to the field, get set up for this afternoon matchup. Facing off for the Cougars will be number 8, Jessica Parker for Lacrosse. Number 18, Kirsten Pelletier. Excuse me, no, that would be number 21, Lauren Schwartz. There's a little bit of a delay. Both teams in position. We are underway in River Forest. The draw control is won by Lacrosse. They're driving middle. Cougars have played man defense all year long, and that's a goal. Already, we talked about this high-powered offense from Lacrosse Roth in the pregame, and they're already within scoring in 20 seconds, the first 20 seconds of the game.
Well, they came in today averaging 15 on the season, and just like that, they're up ahead 1-0. I was going to mention this earlier. This is a Cougars team, that in the previous 2 games in the first quarter, they've done really well in both of them. They were up at one point, each of them, at the first 4-3 in both before the game slipping away as the game further progressed. But here early on, we're a little bit over 20 seconds into the game, and so far, the worst start possible for the Cougars.
Not a great start for a team that has dropped their last 3 games, looking to gain a little bit of momentum here at home.
Talk about momentum at home this year. So in their 3 home losses this year, they've been outscored 46-12 in each of those 3 games. So they look at today to finally turn it around here at home.
And what an excellent opportunity to do so against a non-conference opponent right before conference play starts. Lacrosse behind the goal, looking for a way to attack this man defense that the Cougars present. This defense has been a struggle all season long for the Cougars.
Looks like Lacrosse right here is going to have a free possession opportunity here to extend their lead.
With the ball, that's number 21, Lauren Schwartz. So that shot's a little high. Crosse has the ball right back. Bit of a deflection. Will be another free possession attempt. That's just to the left of the goal. Cougars scrounging for the ball. It's finally picked up.
That was a good save there by McGee right there. Shooting it for Lacrosse right there was the freshman Ava Schultz. Came into the day with 17 goals, second on the team right there. But an early good stop there for McGee, and now the Cougars look to counter here and tie it up.
One of the focuses of this Cougars offense is looking to really extend those offensive possessions. We've seen in the past that they've had those quick, try to get shots off as quick as they can. And with a team that doesn't have a whole lot of depth on defense, offense is a time that they're supposed to rest. Really looking to extend those offensive possessions so they're not as tired on the defensive end.
Yeah, last year they were able to sacrifice a bit of the defensive performance for their offense, in which it worked really well last year. However, this year, on both sides of the field, they've had to sacrifice as the Cougars have tied it up right here.
Nice goal by number 8, Jessica Parker. And the Cougars tie things up. 12:24 remaining in the first quarter. And Roth, the Cougars really needed that goal right there.
They desperately needed it right there. Good finish there by Parker, you mentioned. And overall, it's a really good bounce back for them. I was questioning at first, once they got down early, were we going to see them sort of have like this big letdown here in the first? And so far, early on, they've done a really good job bouncing back and tying things up. And, we still have a lot of time left here in the first to change things around.
And that was a really good goal to let Lacrosse know that even though they got the first goal of the game, that the Cougars not going away. They're not going to shy down from a little competition. Really great goal right there from the Cougars to tie things up. As we're set for draw control. There's one by Lacrosse's Lauren Schwartz, and she's making her way down the middle of the field. She's met by Chloe Schopsma. And a bunch of Cougars clog the lane. Crosse finds their way out of it. As the ball goes out of bounds. It will result in a Cougars possession. Kelly Piotrowski will start with the ball.
This game's going to be very critical for the Cougars defensively as well. They got to take advantage of every opportunity, just like they did right there with a turnover, and convert it into an offensive opportunity.
As Riley Ornstein's pass is a little wide for Chloe Schafsma. It's a turnover, and Lacrosse has the ball right back.
We talked about how fatigue will eventually set in with this Cougars team, and turnovers like that, having to sprint one way from the offensive field, only playing back defense, it's going to contribute to the fatigue. And it'll be interesting to see, especially as the quarter continues to wind down, seeing that fatigue on the field come into effect.
That shot's a little high. Might have been tipped by a couple of Cougar defenders. That ball is picked up by Jessica Parker. She gets nudged a little bit, but still going. Making her way down the right sideline. Spin move. Turns the ball over, and it's picked up by Lacrosse going the other way.
They have a numbers advantage right now, Lacrosse. They want to take this on a counter. As now the Cougars bring it back to a 3-on-4.
So far, the Eagles have dominated the time of possession, and it's not good for a Cougars defense who, this seems to be a point of emphasis, doesn't have a lot of depth. Find themselves playing defense quite a bit, as that goal is good from the Eagles. And they respond with a goal of their own to give themselves the 2-1 lead.
Yeah, the goal scorer right there for Lacrosse, but there was Lauren Schultz, right there, the junior midfielder right there, making it her 19th on the season. Like that, Lacrosse up ahead 2-1.
And Lauren Schwartz has been doing it all season long. Leads the team in points with 21 and also with goals. Now her 19th goal of the season. She's been a strong player for this Eagles team this season. The junior midfielder from Franklin.
Also for them, keep an eye out today on number 18, Kirsten Pelter. She comes in today with 10 assists, so she'll be someone who will look out for a lot, particularly in the final third offensively, setting up the attackers and convert them on the spot.
And Pelletier started in all 7 games for the Eagles this year. As you mentioned, those 10 assists. She's been very reliable in that category. As the Cougars are making their way back out to the field. Not necessarily the start they were hoping for, letting up 2 goals within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Not the start, indeed. Earlier in the year, they were really doing a bad job, as a team in the first quarter. However, in back-to-back games, they were up by the end of the first. So things are starting to turn around, particularly in the first. However, we mentioned they're down 2-1 to start things off here. Let's hope they turn things around here and really put the hammer down here in the first.
So far this year, the Cougars have let up 14 goals in the first period so far this season. The Cougars have scored 14 goals in the first, and they've let up 21 to their opponents. Is now Riley Ornstein taking the face-off for the Cougars against Lauren Schwartz, and face-off is won by the Cougars. It's Kelly Piotrowski showing off the speed, making her way down the field. That ball is picked up by Nina Nez. Cougars passing the ball around, looking for a good look. Now, Beto behind the goal, flips it to Ornstein. Ornstein looking for a potential hole in that Eagle defense. Can't find any. And we're off to, Cougars are going to have to get real creative on offense. That is a stingy Eagle defense.
They do. Is Ornstein right there falls to the ground. This is pretty still. The team is still getting adjusted to it this year. Playing a lot more offensive sets. Last year they were really efficient, driving towards the net across the middle and having great finishes and converting those into goals. This year it hasn't been the case. As you mentioned, today is the last game before they start conference, and the goal for them today is to feel a lot more comfortable in their sets offensively before they face off against Marion, their opener this Saturday in conference.
The shot clock is winding down at 10 seconds on the shot clock. Cougars fumbling the ball around a little bit. It's picked up by the Eagles. Number 15, Julia Della Pena. Little high right there. And ball's now picked up by the Cougars. Ball goes out of bounds. Taking it will be number 12, Riley Ornstein.
Ornstein has a slow start this year. However, in her past 2 games, she has scored, so it looks like she's finally turning the corner around at a critical juncture point so far this season for the team.
Ornstein has been very reliable for the Cougars during her 4 years in River Forest. As you mentioned, off to a little bit of a slower start, looking to gain a little confidence for herself this afternoon. Ball is turned over and Lacrosse picks it up, running down the field. 12, Abigail Stegoff. Now the Eagles are back at work on offense. And this is a very patient Eagles offense. They don't try to rush anything. Like to pass the ball around a little bit, look for the right opportunity to score. They know how to score fast, but they also know how to be patient.
In addition, what you're seeing right there, you're seeing several different players for them cutting across the middle right there, looking to get involved, looking to have a perfect shot right there, right in front of the net, right? And so far, I see it has brought them great success.
As that's blocked by McGee. Interesting note about McGee. He was the NAC Defensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. And that's another goal from the Eagles. They were really patient with that offensive possession. Like I said, they know when to score, and we see that executed right there.
That's up brick right there from McGee. Made the initial save, however, the follow-up through right there to lead up the cross player right in front of her. Unfortunately, didn't have a chance to react to the second shot. Just like that, it's a 2-goal deficit.
And on the goal was number 22, Megan Feeney. That's her first goal of the year. This draw is won by Jessica Parker, slicing and dicing through that Eagles defense. Flips it to Bryn Beto. Now Kate Johnson flips it to Nez. That shot, little off target. Once again picked up by Johnson. Tosses it to Shaftsma. Cougars being patient, looking to make something happen. Cougars cannot find themselves in too deep of a hole. As we've seen, Roth, in previous matchups, once the Cougars get themselves in a bit of a hole, it's hard for them to come out of it.
They've struggled this year sort of playing from behind. You know, one thing I picked up right now offensively, what they're doing compared to what UW have done, I mentioned, you know, how they're having numerous players come across the net over the middle. As they're doing so right now, and an opportunity right there denied by a netminder for Lano. But as I was mentioning, UW, they do a really good job, you know, having multiple players coming across the middle. You saw right there, the Cougars did the exact same thing, and it really brought them success right there in bringing one goal back.
As we mentioned, the Cougars are looking to kind of draw out, prolong those offensive possessions. They have done a better job at that, just haven't been able to get too many shots off. As the Eagles get a fourth goal. This is not the start you want if you're a Cougars defense.
University of Wisconsin Lacrosse continuing so far to put up on a tear this year, scoring-wise. Already with 4, and we still have 4.5 minutes left here in the first. And things are going bad to worse here in the Cougars quickly.
Eagles have started off hot. We knew this about this team, Roth. They're a high-powered offense, really skilled offense. We see that in the record, 4-2 on the year. They're on a 3-game win streak. 4 goals already first quarter with 4:29 remaining.
And this comes as no surprise as the early first quarter start dominance here for University of Wisconsin Lacrosse. They did the same thing in their last game against Cornell of Iowa. They led up 6-1 in the first. By halftime, they were up 11-2. So so far they are continuing their momentum they got from the previous outing.
That draw control is won by number 21, Lauren Schwartz. Eagles making their way down the field. This man defense from the Cougars has been a little iffy at this point in the season.
And right now, you talk about how their defense has been a bit iffy this year. It's a good job there defensively by the Cougars. But I was saying beforehand, right now this is a time where you really want to strive defensively before carrying into conference play. And for the Cougars, they still haven't been able to hit their stride to this point.
As Ornstein stripped the ball, made her way down the field. Nice defensive play right there from Ornstein. We mentioned that she's been struggling on the offensive end. However, she's a veteran leader for this team. She's really reliable in other areas, just hasn't quite found her rhythm on offense. Ball is picked up by Parker. Spin move, making her way in the crease, and that goal is good. Jessica Parker, her second goal of the game. And Roth, the Cougars really needed that.
They desperately needed it after being outscored the past 3 goals, but a really good job there by Parker. She started playing behind the net, then came across right in front of the middle, and a good low shot, bouncing past the netminder for Lano. And for Parker, as you mentioned, her second goal of the day.
Parker showing off the moves right there with the spin move, cut her way across the middle into the crease, and you mentioned that low ball trickled its way into the net. Really great play right there from Parker right when the Cougars needed it.
And not only that, you mentioned how already have 2 goals in the previous game against Kalamazoo. She had a hat trick in that game with 3 goals. So far in back-to-back games, Parker is really riding high so far.
Set draw controls won by the Eagles. That would be number 9, Olivia White. Couple players down on the field. Slight collision. Now the Cougars have the ball as Kelly Piotrowski.
See, one thing that the Cougars did a lot more better today than they did on their previous home outing against Lake Forest was that they were able to do a good job, controlling the midfield and, getting to the offensive zone, whereas previously beforehand, they struggled, particularly in this area of the field.
Riley Ornstein had the ball in her hands a couple times today. The speedster out of Walnut Creek, California. As Beto looking for an option. Tries to get it to Johnson. That is picked up by Schafsma. Schafsma flips it to Ornstein. Ornstein cut her way across the middle, and that shot is deflected by a couple Lacrosse defenders. And controlled by the Eagles. Never mind, it is fumbled, and now the Eagles will take possession.
So Ornstein right there had the same idea as what led Parker to her second goal. They're playing behind that and roaming across. Unfortunately, that time Her shot got blocked by several defenders.
So we got a streaking Lauren Schwartz, runs into a couple Cougar defenders.
Good job there defensively there by Ludwig, showing off her defensive prowess.
It's a huge defensive stand. Lauren Schwartz had a full head of momentum, making her way right down the middle of the field. Didn't get stopped until she got about to that 15-yard line. That is the end of the first quarter. The Eagles lead the Cougars 4-2. We will be right back on the Cougar Sports Network for the beginning of the second quarter. Cougars getting in position. Eagles still in the huddle for timeout. Eagles currently lead the Cougars 4-2 as second quarter action is underway. So far for the Eagles, been pretty lights out on offense. Lauren Schwartz has 2 goals, followed by Abigail Steigoff with 1, and Megan Feeney with the other. And on the other hand, for the Cougars, Jessica Parker with both goals for the Cougars. As both sides are set for the face-off. And that is won by the Eagles. It's number 27, Grace Wilmot. As Piotrowski got the loose ball and now making her way down the field. Flips it behind to Parker. Parker made a miraculous catch. Now dumps it off to Sayla. Finds Ludwig and Roth. Sarah Ludwig she's a newer addition to the team, been primarily a defensive specialist, hasn't been as prominent on the offensive end. But the Cougars are happy to have her back.
New, but not forgotten. Of course, Ludwig, obviously, with the team for the past several years, came back halfway through the season. And as you mentioned, her defensive ability has been key so far for these Cougars so far in her return. And, as we continue early on here in the quarter, what I'm really curious about is how is this Cougars team going to perform in the second quarter? And, they've done really well, in the first, not allowing the game to get out of hand at first. But now as we go into the second quarter, this is where it really gets tough for the Cougars.
Yeah, this is a Cougars team that they really need a good second quarter. They usually can start off pretty well, but then can't carry that momentum throughout the rest of the game. That is another goal by Lacrosse, their 5th goal of the game. As that was number 12, Abigail Stegoff, her 2nd goal of the game. It was assisted by number 21, Lauren Schwartz, also her 2nd assist of the game.
Saw the shot there by Stegoff. It hit the post, and hit the side of the post, and then McGee right there. She actually grabbed it for a second, and then all of a sudden the ref looked at each other, and both of them counted as a goal right there. So, a bit of an unfortunate situation right there for the Cougars, and they are starting off the second on the wrong foot.
We were just talking about that, how they need a good second quarter performance, and as soon as we say that, let up a goal. The hands of Abigail Stegoff.
It's early on here in the second, but you have a feeling here that UW Lacrosse right here is going to really try to take control of this game and put it out of reach even before halftime, it seems.
And that is exactly their goal. See, UW Lacrosse scored a total of 37 goals. In the second quarter alone so far this season, they only allowed 27 goals so far in the second quarter to their opponents.
And then you have a Cougars team that has conceded 25 goals in the second, which is most they have conceded in any quarter this season.
And teams really, they have a good second quarter, are able to put the Cougars away. Cougars have not been as productive in second halves this season. A little shove from Sayla. Sayla making her presence known on the defensive end as she gives Schwartz a little shove right there. It's picked up by number 9, Olivia White. Let's get a little pause in the action. Refs come together, talk things over.
Restart the shot clock back to 90 seconds.
Give the Eagles a little bit more time to work on the offensive end. Again, we're seeing this patient Eagle offense that we've been talking about so far in the broadcast. Not in any hurry to make things happen. Sarah Ludwig gets her stick in there. Causes a loose ball, but picked up by the Eagles as White. A little bit of an erred pass. Picked up by McGee. Now analyzing her options.
This is one thing that the Cougars have struggled so far this year. Whenever McGee has had the ball, she's been struggling to get it out. And it's not her fault. It's just been a really good job that the opponents have done defensively in those situations.
As Piotrowski gets the pass from McGee, making her way down the field. Showing off the speed. As that pass is deflected by the Eagles. And goal number 33, Abigail Furlano.
There, good shot up right there from Piotrowski right there, using her athleticism and the speed across the middle. But a really good job there by the junior netminder out of Blaine, Minnesota there in Furlano.
Piotrowski is booking it down the field. Great shot attempt, just even better defense by Furlano. Now the Eagles, yet again on offense. Patience is really on display. Finds a cutting attacker, and that is deflected by McGee. Nice save right there.
Shot came right there from Steingoff right there. He did a really good job ducking down, avoiding the Cougar defender that was coming from behind right there. Was a little spin move, and really good job there by McGee. Come up with a critical save and still keep the game only down by 3.
Seen a couple of nice saves right there from McGee. They rely heavily on her. She's been solid in goal. Really during her 4 years here. They'll be looking for her to step up big time today against this high-powered UW Lacrosse offense. It's Abigail Steigoff. Another nice save from McGee. She's really having a nice second quarter. That's her 3rd save so far. After letting up that first goal at the beginning of the second quarter. Pass is intercepted by the Eagles. Looks like Lauren Schwartz be on the free possession attempt. Another nice save from McGee, but it doesn't hold in. That ball trickles in there. That is another goal for Lauren Schwartz, her 3rd afternoon.
And it all started off of the initial save by McGee on the previous shot right there. I talked about earlier how well opponents' defenses have done this season when it comes to, picking off those passes by McGee, in which a really good job by Schwartz on that time, which allowed the free position opportunity and for UW Lacrosse, the team, to capitalize on it.
Correction, that was number 18, Kirsten Pelletier, on the goal. That is her first goal of the afternoon. Her first goal of the season. We've seen a couple Eagles who recorded their first goals of the season, and Pelletier and Feeney.
Pelletier known for her assists, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and this time she gets her shining moments and gets her first goal of the season.
As this Eagles attack, 6 goals so far in the afternoon. They lead the Cougars 6-2 as the draw control is won by Parker. Streaking down the field, finds Kate Johnson. Johnson analyzing her options. Finds Beto. Beto loses it for a second but picks it right back up. Now Nays. Finds a cutting Riley Ornstein. She's met by a few Eagle defenders. Now it's picked up by Schwartz.
Really good job defensively by UW Lacrosse right there. How well they were right there getting to Ornstein immediately once she had the ball right there, just swarming to her. And that's something that we have seen them do really well so far in this game. Whenever we've seen the Cougar player right there across the middle, there's like 2 or 3 defenders right there. Immediately they get her and stop them in the tracks.
And not only have the Eagles been solid on the offensive end, but defense as well, only letting up 2 goals. And it seems like every time the Cougars try to get something going, the Eagles are just being real stingy. As Ludwig starts out with the ball for the Cougars. Finds Ornstein. Ornstein with a nice grab up top. Dumps it off to Parker. Parker finds Piotrowski, that shot a little wide and off target. It's tracked down by Beto. Piotrowski. Now to Parker. Piotrowski and Parker playing a little dump off to each other. And a little bit of stop in the action. Looks like the Cougars will be setting up for a free possession attempt. Number 12, Riley Ornstein. Ornstein. That goes a little high. Now the Eagles are back on offense. Ball is out of bounds. Once again, retained by the Cougars. A couple of nice defensive stops right there from the Cougars.
Good job there by both Johnson there and Piotrowski right there. Doing a really good job on the boundary right there and not giving the UW defender much space to roam.
Defense was suffocating right there on that defensive possession. That ball is overshot by Beto. Johnson trying to track it down. Now in the hands of Piotrowski. Now Nays finds a cutting Beto. But that is stopped by Eagle goalie Abigail Furlano. Nice save by her. She's had a pretty solid afternoon.
She's come clutch on numerous occasions so far, and she's helped them stabilize their 4-goal lead.
Now, Eagles are back in their own territory. Excuse me, Cougar territory. Looking to strike once again. As whistles are blown. Clock stops. As Kelly Sala makes her way over to the box. Be a free possession attempt for Parker. Excuse me, not Parker. And that is a goal for the Eagles. Number 8, Ava Schiltz. It's her first goal of the afternoon. And now the Eagles lead the Cougars 7-2, extend their lead to 5 goals. And Ralph, so far the Cougars have just not been able to find a response.
Their second quarter struggles so far this season have continued, and it's become a trend as of late how in the first quarter, they do good to contain themselves in the game, but as the game continues first to progress, we talk about, throughout the season, just the fatigue and the lack of substitutions have, been a key factor to their lack of success this season. And so far today here, we're 4.5 minutes left before halftime, and today that trend continues for them.
After scoring two goals in the first quarter, Cougars have been stagnant on offense. Also let up 3 goals so far. As the Cougars disrupt pass, but it will remain in possession of UW Lacrosse.
The more opportunities they get on the positions, the more likely eventually they will start converting them.
Nice save right there from McGee. Looked like she tipped it, went to the right side of the goal. Now the Cougars will have possession. That's Sayla. Now Ornstein streaking down the sideline. Got a lot of green grass in front of her. She stops, looking at her options. Ornstein finds Beto. Beto trying to cut across the middle. That's deflected. Misses the mark of the goal.
It's going to be a good opportunity right here for Beto. We talked about opportunities, you know. If you're the Cougars, you got to convert on these opportunities. They're not going to come often in this game, and here's a great one here for Beto.
And she does. She does capitalize. Bryn Beto gives the Cougars 3 goals on the game. That's her first goal of the afternoon. Now her 3rd goal of the season. And Roth, you literally just said it. Beto needed to capitalize on that free possession attempt, and she did.
You rarely see players on the free possession right there shooting it immediately once the whistle blows. However, Beto right there decided to, and she slinged that one past the netminder right there for Lano. But she had no chance to make it the stop. And, you know, it's a critical moment here in this game. You know, 2.5 minutes before halftime. If the Cougars can pull one more back here before halftime, they will enter into the second half with momentum and believing that they can pull things back.
As draw controls won by Schwartz and the Eagles. As that shot is off the mark. Nice deflection right there from McGee. She went low. Eagles back, analyzing their options. Looking for a soft spot in that Cougars defense. It's Ava Schiltz. As she gets another goal. That's her 2nd goal of the afternoon. And her 19th goal of the season. Responds to that goal from Beto with a goal of her own. And the Eagles lead the Cougars 8-3, 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Well, the freshman phenom continues to put on a tear this season. And, you know, for the Cougars now, I talked about 30 seconds ago how, you know, they needed to pull one back. And unfortunately, they've done the opposite. They've conceded one here. And the deficit's back up to 5.
Schiltz, the freshman out of Prior Lake, Minnesota. Freshman phenom is about right. 19 goals on the season. 22 points overall. She's having herself a nice freshman campaign, that's for sure. It's the Eagles.
Schultz is going to have another opportunity here to put another one on the board.
We'll see if she does just that. Schultz with the free possession attempt. And she gets another goal. Schultz on back-to-back offensive possessions puts the ball in the net for the Eagles. They lead 9-3 now. Schultz, with the hat trick already, leads all players goals in this game with 3. And with that goal, she's now tied for the lead. Most goals this season so far by Eagles player, tied with Lauren Schwartz with 20 goals.
In addition to that, that is now Schultz's 5th game this season with at least 3 or more goals. She scored 3 in the previous meeting against Cornell, Iowa, and her other 3 games this year were against Zach Curry, University of Wisconsin, Wartburg, Iowa, and then 5 against Calvin, Michigan.
She's really stepped up big time as a freshman, coming in and lighting it up on the offensive end. Don't typically see those numbers from freshmen. She's doing just that so far this season. Nice save right there from McGee. Now McGee trying to get the ball back out. Finds Pietrowski. That's picked up by Schaafsma. And Schaafsma's got a little bit of green grass in front of her. She's streaking down the field. Drops the ball. Picks it back up. Now finds Parker. She loses the ball. Retained by the Eagles as they're trying to make their way back into Cougar territory. And another goal. That is Olivia Scheidmeier. And now that's double-digit goals for the Eagles. They lead the Cougars 10-3. 8 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Complete defensive breakdown right there by the Cougar Scheidmeier right there. All by herself right there. Only a few inches separated her from McGee and the net. And that right there is just an unfortunate goal right there to concede and inexcusable from the Cougars with only 8 seconds left for halftime.
And so far, Roth, the Eagles have just been lighting it up in the second quarter. Scored 4 goals in that first quarter, now 6 goals so far. They give themselves a pretty big lead over the Cougars as we're about to head into halftime. Draw control is won by the Eagles. Shot clock winding down, and they aren't able to get a shot off. And that's the end of the first half. The Eagles lead the Cougars 10-3. And Roth, before we head to break, if you're Coach Scott, what are you telling your team as you're heading into halftime?
At this point, you have to look at the game in second half as scoreless as 0-0 and just take possession by possession and quarter by quarter right there. Ignore what happened in the first half. Let's see what we can do in the second half and take some positives away from this game before a conference opener this Saturday. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, the game, it's still in reach. It's a 7-goal advantage. The game's not completely put away. Still got to come out. You still got to see the score 0-0. Try to make something happen. If Cougars drop this game today, the season's not over by any means. Still have a long road ahead, but it would definitely help if they could get a couple goals, maybe cut this lead a little bit, make things interesting. Right now, the Eagles from the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse lead the Concordia University Chicago Cougars 10-3. We'll be back for second half action on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page at CUC Sports for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button to become a member, and if you don't want to become a member at the time, you can donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department to continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thank button on any video. We sincerely thank you for all your support. The Eagles from UW Lacrosse currently lead the CUC Cougars 10-3. So far, Roth, has been a lights-out offensive performance by Lacrosse, led by Ava Schiltz, who already has a hat trick on the afternoon.
Yeah, and so far for the Cougars, things haven't gone well for them so far, obviously being down by 7. But here, you start fresh here in the second half. You've had a time, to regroup and rethink how they're going to play, particularly defensively up to this point. Offensively, they're just looking for opportunities, So far, they're being outshine, 24-12 compared to UW Lacrosse. And it's going to be interesting to see just how they respond after the first half. That's going to be the key for me.
Yeah, and the Cougars have struggled responding in the second half this year. As we take a quick look at the stats, Cougars so far on the year have only scored 4 goals in the third quarter. Meanwhile, they've let up 17 to their opponents. It's not a good recipe for success, especially if you're down at the half.
Not only that, though, like we talked about, this is their second and last non-conference game, but their last conference game before they start conference play this upcoming weekend here at home against a really good Mariam team. And, this is the point of the season where, the team should be hitting on all strides, and unfortunately, this year it hasn't been the case.
And this is a Cougars team who typically struggles a little bit in those non-conference matchups. We see back in 2022, Cougars went 1-6 in those non-conference matchups, but then ended up finishing the season 8-7 and making an appearance in the NAC championship. This is a Cougars team that typically finds their stride when conference play starts, so that can be encouraging if you're a Cougars fan. As the draw control is won by CUC and number 8, Jessica Parker. She loses it, and it's back on offense for the Eagles, as they are making their way right down the field. Flips it to Olivia Scheidemeier. And Roth, the patience on offense for the Eagles has been on display really all afternoon.
Their patience has paid off really good so far. And because of that, when you see them right there, the goal is saying patience is a virtue. And for them so far, they have done a really good job being patient, not feeling any rush, especially the fact that, they're up by 7 and controlling the game.
It's paid major dividends for them so far. We see already in double-digit goals with 10. This Eagles team really came to play this afternoon. The ball is out of bounds. Going to be Cougars possession as Shafsma takes it for the Cougars. She makes her way past a couple of Eagle defenders, trying not to get held up. She does. Loses the ball. Shafsma. That is picked up by Sayla. Now it'll be Eagle possession. It was Those whistles are blown. Johnson goes to the box for the Cougars. Eagles back at work on the offensive end. Cougars still in that man defense. And another goal for the Eagles. And another hat trick. That is number 12, Abigail Steigoff. Now there are 2 Eagles players with hat tricks on the afternoon. And number 8, Ava Schultz. Number 12, Abigail Steigoff.
And for Steigoff right there, it is her second hat trick of the year. Her first one came earlier this month against Wartburg, Iowa with 3. And so far today, she has a hat trick to her name. So 2 on the season for her, as now the lead is up to 8.
Steigoff, the senior midfielder out of St. Paul, Minnesota. It's her 10th goal of the season. She's been huge on offense for the Eagles this afternoon. Piotrowski. Piotrowski shot a little bit off the mark. Ross, she's been fairly quiet this afternoon, the leader in goals for the Cougars.
A very quiet day for her, you mentioned, Parker. And she does have a goal to her name today, but other than that, she hasn't been very much involved in the offense so far.
That's another shot deflection from the Eagles. Ornstein taking it out. Trying to nip her way through that Eagles defense. He's only let up 3 goals so far this afternoon. Be a free possession attempt for Bito. That shot is off the mark. Picked up by Piotrowski. She's trying to make her way through the middle. Gets caught up in a little bit of traffic. Be another free possession attempt for the Cougars. And Kelly Piotrowski. She makes her way through the middle. That shot off. This ball is back in the hands of the Eagles. The ball deflected by Shasma. Almost made it an incredible interception. Looked like a defensive back in football right there, Roth.
Yes, indeed.
As Ornstein at the top. Ball is deflected by Lacrosse. I believe that was number 5, Abigail Franta.
Good defensive attempt there by Ornstein. However, the ball right there leads to Steigoff right there.
That's flipped to Grace Wilmot. Crosse passing the ball around the yard a little bit. Trying to make something happen. Trying to get their 12th goal of the game. Right now they're just having a little bit of fun wearing down that shot clock. There are now about 30 seconds left. Really taking their time, being patient. Been one of the key attributes of this team so far this season. Get caught up in the middle. That looks like it'll be a free possession attempt for the Eagles.
We talked about how patient they have been so far, and because of that, they have been rewarded with numerous free possession opportunities.
Able to capitalize on quite a few of them as well. Nice defense right there from the Cougars. Didn't allow the Eagles to capitalize right there. However, possession still remains in their favor as the shot clock's winding down. 3 seconds left. They aren't going to get the shot off. Now Cougar ball. Great defensive stand right there from the Cougars.
Those are the things right there that this Cougars team defensively has to do really well so far in the remainder of this game. And it's the only way that they're going to be having any chance here of making a potential comeback.
And usually, patience on offense has worked in their favor for the Eagles. Right there, it didn't. Kind of backfired on them a little bit. Should be accredited to that strong defensive possession right there from the Cougars. As Piotrowski loses the ball right there, and that's picked up by the Eagles. Turnover for Piotrowski. Parker, besides the 2 goals she had in the first quarter, has been fairly quiet so far in this game. However, she does lead the Cougars in scoring this afternoon. It's her and Vito, the only 2 Cougars to score for CUC. Now be free possession attempt for Parker. That's shot off the mark. Nice save right there from Abby Furlano.
That's got to feel good if you're Furlano right there, right in front of Parker right there, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, and did a terrific job right there setting up to her.
Furlano, so far in this game, 4 saves, has a percentage of .571. Pretty solid numbers right there from the goalie. Now the Eagles, once again being patient. Defense of the Cougars trying to turn it up a notch. They know it's go time. They're trying to create a little momentum. They get another stop. As McGee flips it to Ornstein. Ornstein kind of showing off the speed right here. Gets met by 3 Eagle defenders. Tries to find Schaafsma. A little off the mark. Back in possession of the Eagles. Abigail Stegoff. Roaming around at the top. Analyzing her options. Flips it to Schodemeyer. Nice save from McGee. She had a full head of steam on that one. And now Schaafsma streaking down the middle of the field. pivots and takes it back out, flips it to Nays. Nays takes a step back. She waits for her teammates to get in position. Now Ornstein finds Piotrowski. Beto. Errant attempt. As Ludwig gets held up, that'll be possession in favor of the Eagles. Steigoff. That shot is no good. McGee a little high, intended for Parker. Finds Pelletier. Eagles working behind the goal a little bit. Nice save. McGee. McGee already 12 saves on the afternoon. That's picked up by Geschodemeyer. That attempt right over the goal. Eagles still with plenty of time left on the shot clock. 35 seconds. Trying to run this clock down as much as they can. Eagle player on the ground. She's back up now.
She had a collision right there with Sayla, and just like that, an opportunity to make it 12 right here for UW Lacrosse.
We saw last time the Eagles had a free possession attempt. It's an excellent defensive stand from the Cougars as they try to repeat that exact same thing. Of course, they need one right here. That's Ava Schiltz awaiting her free possession attempt. Schiltz, already mentioned, hat trick on the afternoon, 3 goals. As the Cougars retain possession on the offensive end. McGee hasn't been able to find anybody quite yet. Tries to find Ludwig. That pass a little high. Eagles get it right back.
We see despite the fact that they're up by 8, they continue to put on the pressure of this Cougars team, not giving up an inch in this one.
Eagles have been absolutely dominant in time of possession in this game so far. That's brought out by Piotrowski. Piotrowski making her way down the field, sifting through a couple Eagle defenders. Now Nays finds Parker. Parker dancing around at the top. Finds Beto, who's sitting behind goal. Beto. Another shot attempt. That is wide right. Misses the mark. Eagles back on offense. Showing the patience. Not trying to force anything. They're sitting in a pretty good spot right now. The 8-goal advantage as time is ticking in the third quarter.
So far in this third quarter, the Cougars have only conceded 1 goal, so a really good job, tying things up here in the third.
Only letting up 1 goal. It's pretty good work from the Cougars defense in the third quarter. As Kelly Sala trying to get out of some trouble. She can't get away as the Eagles strip the ball. They get a ticking shot clock. 65 seconds. 28 remaining in the quarter. Shot a little high. Deflected by McGee. That's Colmenares. Haven't mentioned her name a whole lot today. She brought the ball out for the Cougars. Now Piotrowski kind of loses the ball a little bit right there. And that is the end of the third quarter. Only 1 goal scored for the Eagles. 0 for the Cougars. The Eagles of University of Wisconsin Lacrosse lead the Cougars 11-3. At the end of the third quarter, we'll be right back for more fourth quarter action on the Cougar Sports Network. We are back on the Cougar Sports Network as fourth quarter action is underway. Real quick, want to give a shout out to all the student workers in the athletic communications department that are making this broadcast possible. On the cameras, we have Ashley Schroll and Haley Howard doing an excellent job with the camera work. Our producer, Janie Turnez. Down on the table, we have Kate Bennis. And on the scoreboard, and our PA announcer, Emily Balaban. We are under the direction of Sydney Palaskis-Lawher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. As fourth quarter underway, the Cougars find themselves down 8 goals. However, it was a great defensive quarter, only letting up 1 goal to the Eagles. As we are set for the start of the fourth quarter. As the draw is won by the Eagles and Lauren Schwartz. Eagles sitting at the top of the key, trying to attack this Cougars defense, who's been pretty stingy themselves so far in this second half. Major improvements from the first half. That ball is picked up by Schafsma. She falls to the turf. Back up. Cougars are back on offense, trying to get out of their own territory and into Eagle territory. Schafsma cutting across the middle. Loses the ball for a second. That's picked up by Schwartz. Parker got her stick in there. Disrupted the Eagle offense. She passes it behind her to Ornstein as Ornstein's pushed out of bounds. She'll start with the ball. So Eagle defense pressing the Cougars, trying not to allow them to get into Eagle territory. Ornstein. She's able to cross the 50. She's getting pressured. Now Ornstein looks like she got hit in the face. She's back up, has a few words for number 22, Megan Feeney. Now Ornstein gets out of trouble, uses her speed. Finds Johnson. I think Johnson might have had a attempt at a shot right there. Decides to take it back out. Gives it up to Beto. Now the Eagles are off and running.
Just a rough day so far overall for the Cougars. Just they can't get anything going on offense. They've had opportunity here and there, but they haven't been consistent on that side of the field. And that has been a key reasoning why they're down by 8, and things are just continuing to slip away from them.
And going off that point, as we take a quick look at the stats, the Eagles 34 total shots. Meanwhile, the Cougars, on the other hand, only have 18. It's a massive difference.
And then out of those 18 shots for the Cougars, 10 of them have been on target. While for UW Lacrosse, they had 25 of those on target.
It's definitely been one of the stories of the game. Definitely, Cougars haven't been able to get as many shots off as they would have liked. Meanwhile, Lacrosse is kind of doing what they've been doing all year. This ball is on the ground, but retained by the Eagles. Olivia White to start off. Dumps it off to Schwartz. Schwartz maneuvering. Looks like she'll get a free possession attempt at the arc. That goal is good. Laura Schwartz now with the hat trick of her own. It's now her 21st goal of the season. She leads her team in goals scored so far. Not a bad day for her, as she is the third Eagle player with a hat trick on the afternoon.
George joins Steigoff and Schultz, both of them with a hat trick. So 3 players for them on a hat trick, as they have just continued to pour it on here in River Forest.
Pouring it on is right. Cougars have let up 12 goals. Haven't been able to find much success on the offensive end. It's been a little bit of a tougher day for this Cougar squad. So they're trying not to drop their 4th straight game. Ludwig scooping at the ball. Not able to pick it up. It's taken back out by the Eagles as Schwartz sits at the top of the arc. Nice save right there from McGee on the deflection. Eagles trying to work their offense a little bit, kind of tick away at the clock. Schaafsma will pick that up. Now roaming down the sidelines. Full head of speed, a little high. That pass a little high for Nez. That's retained by the Eagles. Errant pass right there from Schaafsma. There's a couple Cougars in. The Eagle get tangled up.
With a little over 9 minutes left, looking ahead at the schedule for your Cougars, they start conference play this Saturday at home at 1 o'clock against Mary University. Before having 2 more conference games on Wednesday for the 5th against Beloit College, and then the 15th of April against McCoy University of Wisconsin, which will be senior day for them. So let's look ahead to the first 3 conference fixtures.
As that one's deflected by McGee. She's doing her best not to let up another goal. And Ornstein getting a little aggressive right there. She knocks number 18, Kirsten Pelletier, to the ground. That looked a little intentional as Ornstein will make her way over to the box.
Frustration just continues to boil over Ornstein. It's the 2nd time we've seen her, tripping at, the Eagles players, and it's just been a rough day. What has been so far a rough season for the team, considering the expectations they had before the season began.
We just continue to see the anger boiling up inside of Ornstein. Defense has been playing pretty tight on her this afternoon. They know that she hasn't had the best start to the season, but she is dangerous. The Eagles knew that coming in. So far, Ornstein's frustration getting a little best of her. And we have a Crosse player a little slow to get up. So that was number 4, Megan Maloney. Eagles back on offense. Schwartz. As that ball goes out of bounds. Cougars trying to get a stop. They do. Ludwig loses it, and things are getting a little heated so far in this fourth quarter.
I mean, with the game being so lopsided, of course, and now it's just like the Cougars just want to show like frustration, and unfortunately, it's been shown numerous times here in the fourth.
Yeah, a couple incidents so far. As the Eagles passing the ball around and they get a goal. Their 13th goal of the afternoon. They now host a double-digit lead. And the goal was at the hands of number 22, Megan Feeney. Her second goal of the afternoon, her second of the season. That was assisted by number 18, Kirsten Pelletier. Roth, I believe you pointed her out in the pregame. 2 assists so far in the afternoon, 12 assists on the year.
She has been a key contributor to the team overall this season, as they have now extended their lead up to 10. It is 13-3 with 6:56 left here in the game.
And, of course, a double-digit lead means we will have a running clock throughout the remainder of the game.
Cougars have been held shut out here in this entire second half. They have only conceded 2 goals, but at the same time, in the process, they haven't done a good job getting opportunity to score.
We've seen a similar storyline play out in previous matchups. For example, last Saturday, the Cougars hosted the Foresters from Lake Forest College. Cougars scored 5 goals in that first half, but were shut out in the second half. This is a Cougars team who really struggles with offense in the second half of games.
Not only that, you look at, in the shots category by quarter. In the first 3 quarters, they had 6 shots each. In the fourth quarter alone, they have not had a single shot yet.
And against a high-powered offense like this, you got to be able to match that intensity, because we know that Lacrosse is going to put balls in the net. The Cougars have not found a way to match that same energy so far this afternoon. They're set for the draw control. And that is won by Ornstein. Ornstein was looking to get a shot off. Circles back around the net, and she does. Riley Ornstein making her presence felt as she gets the goal to go.
Numerous times in this quarter, Ornstein, her aggression was coming out, and now that time we see a payoff, going coast to coast, border to border at that time, and for the finish.
Ornstein's first goal of the game, her 5th of the season. I mean, she took that ball and just started streaking down the field, and just like that, gets a goal for the Cougars in this second half.
And with that goal, it makes it now 3 consecutive games now for the senior out of Walnut Creek, California. As now it is back down to a 9-goal game.
That's just the type of player Ornstein is. We saw that she was getting a little frustrated earlier in the quarter. She ended up using her anger to end up scoring a goal, and that's just the type of player that she is, the type of player that she's been during her 4 years in River Forest. Ornstein playing with great intensity right now. She's trying to motivate that Cougars defense. Now Schultz fires a shot, saved by McGee.
That will be McGee's 16th save of the day for her.
McGee's 16th save. Has a pretty good saving percentage as well. It's above 500. She's been solid defensively for the Cougars, another veteran presence. As the Eagles have the ball, 60 seconds on the shot clock. Looking to wear down this clock a little bit. As that shot's a little off the mark for Schwartz. A little high and to the left. They still retain possession on offense. That ball goes out of bounds. Ball's now in the hands of 27 Grace Wilmot. That pass a little high. Nice defensive possession for the Cougars right there, standing tall. Not allowing the Eagles to get anything going on that offensive possession. As McGee dumps it off to Ludwig. Ludwig running down the sidelines. Loses the ball, and that's picked up by Megan Maloney.
I've seen various times throughout the game how, particularly in the midfield, these Eagles players done a really good job, taking possession back away from the Cougars. We've seen them have 2 or 3 players usually gang up on one of the Cougar players, and so far it has done a really good job to allow them to keep right there scoring goals, as they have now 14 on the board.
And that goal was by Lauren Schwartz. That's her 4th goal of the afternoon, 22nd of the season. And that was assisted by number 8, Ava Schultz. Both players really having solid outings today. Schwartz with 4 goals, 2 assists. Schultz with 3 goals and 2 assists. They've been really the engine behind this high-powered Eagles offense.
As we approach nearly under 2-minute mark, looking up a handle for University of Wisconsin Lacrosse, they have 3 games upcoming in the next 9 days. They have their next game at home against Osborne University of Minnesota on the 31st of March, for the following day having contest against Carthage College of Wisconsin. And then on Friday, April the 7th, they will play away to the University of Wisconsin-Stout.
That draw control. Still fighting for that a little bit as Ornstein's pushed to the ground. Ornstein is frustrated big time, but she'll start with the ball. So Ornstein speeds her way down, finds Parker, dumps it off to Schafsma. Looking for a hole in that Eagle defense. come up empty-handed as Furlano dumps it back out. Abigail Stagoff waits for the rest of her teammates to get down. Crosse just trying to run the rest of this clock out as we're under 30 seconds. Shot attempt. And that is good. And that is the cherry on top for the Eagles. And Megan Feeney, her first hat trick of the season. As the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse comes into River Forest today and steals one from the Cougars. It's their 4th straight victory. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars drop their 4th straight. They fall to 1-6 on the year. But, Roth, we were talking about this a little bit. Cougars are a team that they typically struggle with these non-conference games, but really start to pick things up when conference hits.
They have so far historically, but after, you look at it so far through their first 7 performances, it does bring the question whether or not this year their fortunes of the past are not going to allow them to be good as this year. And then, on the flip side, thanks to the University of Wisconsin Crosse, they continue their dominance offensively. Once again, they averaged 15 goals on the year coming today. They hit the average at the end, and they are just rolling.
And a quick look ahead for Lacrosse. They have a game coming up as they will host Augsburg University on Friday. That game is set to start at 3:30 p.m. and then they'll be back in action Saturday, April 1st versus Carthage College. That game is set to start at 3:15. On the other hand, for the Cougars, they start conference play this Saturday as they host Marian University. You mentioned, Roth, they're a tough team. And from here on out, it'll be conference games for the Cougars as they look to gain a little bit of momentum and as what has been a rougher start to the season. One more time, I want to give a quick shout out to our student workers who made this broadcast possible. On the cameras, Ashley Schroll and Haley Howard, our producer Janie Turnez. Down on the table is Kate Bennis, and on the scoreboard and our PA announcer Emily Balaban. We are under the direction of Sydney Pulaskis-Laher and Kaylor McLeod. But as for me and my partner Rafael Gonzalez, we're signing off. We'll see you soon on the Cougar Sports Network. Go Cougars!